What's up, everybody? This is Viewballin, and this is a very special game. Now, you might be looking at your screen going, alright, what the hell? What are you on, Viewballin? Because none of these picks are competitive at all. And I will answer, you are right, good sir. Because this is not a pro game, nor is it a normal pub game. This is a pro pub featuring several top players from the Chinese scene. For example, ZSMJ on the draw and DDC on the line, as indicated by their tags blank and B, but we all know what those stand for. Anyways, this is in fact a Chinese pub replay featuring pro players like ZSMJ and DDC, and you might be wondering, alright, I get that it's a Chinese pub replay, but why? 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 Well, it's probably because in the past week there haven't been too many games at all of note. First, there haven't been many games, period. And secondly, there haven't been many good games. I watched a couple of ESTC games, and they were good, but they were a little boring. They had some of the same heroes, and then a couple of them were stomps, and I was just like, okay, I haven't casted any Chinese games, any Southeast Asian games, because I can't. So let me entertain you or bore you with a long tale of woe, heartbreak, and eventual triumph. So, the reason I've only been casting European games for the past 4 months is because all of the Chinese and, for the most part, Southeast Asian replays are played on 1.24b. I don't know why they don't upgrade it. I think it's probably because they pirated it and they just don't want to upgrade it. They just play it on LAN anyway, or through gaming clients like Arena or RGC or whatever. So, I have a Mac, and the thing about Macs is they can't really do shit when you want to have fun. I mean, okay, they're good if you want to watch porn on it, but enough of that. They're good for students, for people who don't want to have fun, and they're not really gaming computers. But I got this computer for free, and so I'm going to make the best of it. So there's no real version switcher for Mac, and that's really been a thorn in my side. I can't cast any Chinese games, so I was like, fuck it. There hasn't been any good replays. I need to learn how to version switch. So I learned how to version switch. That required me uninstalling, reinstalling Warcraft probably 5 or 6 times, saving the copies each time, uploading or updating to a new patch like 1.24b from 1.21b, then saving that patch onto a different hard drive, and then uninstalling that patch, reinstalling, upgrading to 1.24c, etc., up to 1.26a, and then top it all off, I couldn't get the game that I wanted originally, one of the ones that inspired me to start Johto commentating. So I was really sad because that was a corrupted file. So that made me sad face. But I found this game on the Chinese S-Gamer forums, not forums, sorry, in their SG or S-Gamer replay list. So I became happy because we're going to see some heroes that we never see. And because this is a pro pub, don't expect any sort of pick or ban analysis. I'm pretty sure this is an AP game, as you can see from the top right hand corner, and I'm pretty sure people pressed dash random. So no ban or pick phase, no analysis of that. Just judging from the team composition, I mean, honestly, okay, they have 2 gankers with Lion and NA, and Viper can be a good ganker, so good stuns. I'm not going to guess the lanes. I don't know. Could be Viper, could be Lion mid. Who knows? I don't know. And meanwhile, alright, let's just introduce some of the players who have names in decipherable English tags, even though this is a Chinese game, and so you can't read this Sand King's tag. But Lonely is going to be playing Huskar. L has the2248 playing Phoenix, who is never seen because he's not available in the captain's mode pool. And thank God, because he is annoying as hell to play against. Especially when you dive in with Phoenix, get that stupid attack disabling. I'm like, one game, alright, I can counter this, I'll pick Ursa. Ursa is never played at all, and for good reason. But he rapes Phoenix, alright? Because you just, get 5 max attack speeds in the egg and just own him. Well, he dives in, he disables me for what seems 3 seconds, and then I'm frantically clicking the egg the entire time, and when I can finally attack, I get stunned by somebody else because I don't have a BKB yet because our team is getting owned because I picked an Ursa. So, yeah. Anyway, we have Ghost on the Slark. Slark not picked at all because he can't lane for shit. He can be countered by Dust and Gems, and he requires a lot of attacks and requires the BKB to get those attacks off. But he's a pretty interesting hero. I mean, Dark Pact is a really fun spell. Oh, you get stunned? Oh wait, never mind. It just immediately got purged off if you have the right anticipation skills. So QQB is going to be on the Viper. The Drought is ZSMJ, even though there's no tag. DDC is playing the Lion. And we have Skeleton King and NA, so let's get into it. Man, I've already talked way too much at the beginning for it to be a pro pub, but should be fun nonetheless. Let's see if there are any repicks. I'm not too sure at the moment, as sorry for the epic voice crack, but I'm still going through puberty. Just kidding. I don't know why. So it looks like Huskar is repicked. Very unfortunate, because Huskar is probably the most aggravating pub heroes to play against, which is why I love him. I love pissing everybody else off in pubs, because those are the only games I can play, and I take out my frustrations with annoying heroes like Batrider, with Viper, and Huskar. Just heroes that aren't as strong, except for Batrider, but just so annoying to play against. Meanwhile, we're going to see Blue repick his Viper, so I'm sad, because Viper... We're bros, man. We're bros, I feel. And what did he repick into? He hasn't chosen yet. So, let's just look at these item builds for a second. Slark, Quelling Blade, Stout Shield, obviously going to go for a Vanguard. Quelling Blade to give him easier lasting, because Slark, despite being a melee hero, has ridiculously low damage for a melee hero. And his attack animation, I just find really, really hard to use effectively in timing last hits. So, one lucky son of a bitch, I think, repicked Bristleback and managed to get Invoker, so talk about luck hex on that repicking. Oh wait, no, you repicked it and then you can pick what hero, so never mind, B-ball and fail. And looks like the Viper repicked into Lich, or I don't know what he's repicked into. I think he was blue. So we're going to have DDC Lion mid, and DDC is a very, very good player. This isn't DGC, this is DDC. He played for Dream and other teams. I think he played for IGZ for a bit. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't watched too many Chinese replays because honestly, I can't cast them until just recently. And that epic process of woe, heartbreak, and eventual triumph, that took about 4 hours. So it was annoying as hell. Meanwhile, Lich on the top lane, no boots. I mean, you might be wondering, okay, this is a Chinese pub, so they're gonna play like very Chinese-esque. They're not gonna gank as much. They're gonna probably get in position for really strong team fights and push really like when they get the chance, but there won't be too many ganks. Well, I'd say you are wrong, because Chinese pubs are fucking entertaining to watch. They get a lot of weird heroes and they play pretty well with them, and they get a lot of kills, let me tell you what. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this game. So Slark is just going to be facing against Lich, Lich being the ultimate buzzkill in lane, denying experience to that Slark, but meanwhile I miss a first blood, and looks like the Invoker died first against the triple stun lane of Earthshaker, Drow, and NA. Now, NA, when he was first reintroduced into the Captain's Mode pool, it was hypothesized that he'd get a lot of play because he's a really strong ganker at level 6. He gets a ridiculous windwalk backstab, combined with all his nukes and with his new map hack bugs, as we see Slark being hated down by the Lich. But he was never picked, so people were wondering why. And then eventually, enough time passed where people honestly didn't give a crap anymore. But there are a couple reasons why I don't think NA is picked. First, I think the metagame was just more focused on pushing at the moment, not really so much in terms of ganking, although WE is one of my favorite Chinese teams to watch, as we see Invoker being hurt down quite a bit, Jaw Ranger with a couple more attacks, and a mana burn for the win, KSing ZSMJ. Not KSing, sorry. Man. Just getting the last hit, tactical last hits with that mana burn. Of course, if you mana burned a little bit earlier, ZSMJ might have gotten that, but this is a pub, you gotta pad your stats, and I fully approve 100% of what this NA player did. Gotta pad your stats in pubs. So anyway, back to my NA rant. The metagame at the time when NA was reintroduced was not really conducive towards ganking. It was more conducive for pushing and, you know, tri-lanes where it was 3-1-1, you know, to protecting your carry and then having 2 strong souls. And NA, he can't really lane that well. He needs a soul lane, and when you put him solo mid, he doesn't have really too much lane control. He can't spam his stun because he has a small mana pool, and you can't really go up and last it because his base damage is actually really, really low. So eventually he just faded into obscurity. And that makes me sad because back in the early 6.5-ish era, and even 6.4, he was permanent just because his nuke was so powerful. As you see, Phoenix jumping in on the line, gets a hex at the last minute. Let's see if Phoenix can get the chicken! Get the chicken! No! Get owned by DDC, and Sand King manages to pick up the pieces, but a moral victory goes to DDC for being a boss, killing a Phoenix, and Phoenix is so annoying to play against. But yeah, NA back in the early 6.5, even the mid 6.5 era, was completely and utterly permabanned, and that was back when he had the Spiked Carapace, which was a really useless spell, just gave him armor and like a Blade Mail type passive. And when his third skill is reworked to earn a Swarm, where you have bugs that can move around the map, give you map vision and silence. Alright, I'm back. But yeah, the scarabs that give you map vision, that give you silence. People thought, alright, he's going to be picked all the time, but the metagame at that time was just not very conducive. But we see DDC pick off the Phoenix, and already it is 4-1 in favor of the Sentinel. And this is the type of action you want to see from a Chinese pub, and this is why they're really exciting. I think Luminous casted a couple of Chinese pubs, and maybe Nebula, but I'm not too sure, honestly. So, ZSMJ picking an early Wraith Band. Maybe he got that first? I'm not too sure. He probably picked up a couple Slippers to give him some early base damage, because Drow needs early damage, because her attack animation is not the best. But once she gets level 6 and Marksmanship, she can last hit like no other, because you have ridiculous high base damage with that True Shot aura. And we see Invoker, he's paying the price for his repick. People are like, okay, you repick into an Imba hero, not a fun hero, we're gonna rape you now. And just like what's happening with the Lich, although Lich is doing a solid job. Level 5 minutes in, and Slark and Spectre. I just realized there was a Slark Spectre lane up here. A little slow on the uptick by me. And that's why Lich has been getting pretty much free farm up top. Because Slark Spectre, not a scary lane by any stretch of the imagination, and Invoker couldn't get the deny. So meanwhile, Phoenix, despite his early death, or sorry, his early 2 deaths, is just being, I mean, look at this. Level 5 compared to level 7, but can still lane very effectively with his Fire Spirit, which can heal in an AoE around you and do damage to a targeted enemy, so pretty ridiculous spell, if you ask me. And of course he has, look at this base damage. I'm pretty sure he has one of the highest starting base damages in the game. And he's a melee strength hero, which is, or sorry, a ranged strength hero, which only Huskar and Wisp can claim. And meanwhile, Sand King is being hurt down quite a bit, and NA is trying to get a double stun, but it looks like he ventured a bit too far. Gets a stun on the SK, but see if Invoker can get it. Oh, one more hit and a nice wand. Managed to save the NA, and Sand King is, he smells blood. He wants to go, and he is like Jaws, but no Jaws music will be playing today. Meanwhile, Lich gets jumped upon by the fearsome dual lane of Slark Spectre, and this is why Slark Spectre dual lane should be popular in every single competitive scene, because they own solo Liches. Total sarcasm, by the way. And meanwhile, we see Phoenix chasing down the Earthshaker, but he's not going to get that. And it looks like Sand King wants to cut off the creep waves. They want to go for some pushing. They want to get some action on. They don't want farming. This is, I think, what Chinese pros do, and to a lesser extent Chinese pubs do. They want to work out all the aggression before they go to scrimmage and they play not as exciting. So they work it all out in pubs, and this is why they're fun watches. We see Invoker being jumped upon, but does he have a Ghost Walk? He invokes it at the last second, but a nice dust being carried by the Earthshaker gets the Invoker revealed, but Phoenix comes in from the background, and look at that huge healing burst by the Phoenix, and Sand King and Invoker are all living because Invoker got healed up by the Phoenix. Such a fair hero to go against, and meanwhile Earthshaker is forced to back out, so 4-5 already as the Scourge quickly turns around, and they do have the better late game. They have a Spectre and a Slark. Meanwhile, just a Drow on the other side. But Lion's been doing pretty well, I'd say. Let's see how close he is to his blink dagger. And yeah, we can see all the info. It's all pretty now. And this is the problem with the NA in a tri-lane. He's level 4, 8 minutes in, and we see Drown being hated upon by the Slark. Let's see if Lion manages to get the stun as the Shadow Dance wears off, and DDC managed to pick himself up a kill, and ZSMJ can do what he loves most. Even in pubs, ZSMJ picks farming heroes. I am disappointed. I want to see an epic ZSMJ roaming Night Stalker level 1 as you see him getting jumped upon. The egg is dropped. Drow is forced to run because his attack was disabled for a bit, but can run out of safety because there's no follow-up stuns to prevent him. And Phoenix, oh hey, you're back to full health? That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, Phoenix's attack silence thing is just so annoying to play against because you're like, alright guys, focus the egg, focus the egg, focus the egg, as we see Spectre being focused by the Hex, the Finger, and the arrows. So in pubs, everybody's focus the egg, focus the egg, focus the egg, and more kills are going on. But meanwhile, the other team is stunning you, preventing you, and you already have the attack silence if the Phoenix position is dive correctly. And so much is going on. You're getting burned, you're getting owned, and Drow's getting owned. Just like this, let's see if there's going to be a dive. Does Phoenix have mana? Phoenix does have mana, and there is one dead-ass Drow. As you see Phoenix picking up that kill, killing ZSMJ. I don't know if this Phoenix player is well-known, but you should screenshot this picture because you can say, I killed ZSMJ. What have you bitches done for your life? You haven't killed ZSMJ, that's what you haven't done. Meanwhile, NA is going to take up this time to farm mid because he has 0 experience at all. He's only 7 and 4, and it was a good solid tri lane. They got a couple of kills on the Invoker, but really lacking experience on experience-dependent heroes like NA and Drow. And Drow, if you've watched Nebula's Dota on Drow, looks like DDC manages to get a teleport in on the Sand King. Let's see if they can chain stun this very well. Yes, nice chain stuns by the Lion and the Earthshaker, and they managed to pick off the Sand King. So NA is still taking this time out to farm. Let's see what he goes for. It might be a little too late to get a fast Dagon as it's so common in NA, and the Spirits and a double damage just completely own that poor innocent Scarab, and he is not happy as he just says dot. And then he says something in Chinese, which my English Warcraft is too noob to pick up on. So Draw's going to take this time to farm at top. Despite dying, has Treads, has Helmet Dominator, and like I was saying, if you want to know more about Draw Ranger, check out Nebula's Dota Daily. I think that was like his 3rd episode ever, or second episode ever, and his first Hero Daily was on Drow. So check that out. But pretty much what the summary of that is, by 20 minutes you want to have Treads, Dominator, maybe a component of the BKB, or maybe a Yasha. And because Drow gets her damage very fast, but she doesn't scale as well as other late game carries, she doesn't get very tanked. Meanwhile, Slark is going in on this Earthshaker, but since he is still invisible, Shadow Dance. And let's see if they can get off this Earthshaker. No! Instead, Invoker might be in trouble. But fortunately for him, I think Lion's Finger was on cooldown. Unless it happened in a kill that I missed, which is probably lucky because, again, these Chinese pro pubs, they have to get all of their aggression out because they gotta get used to playing not as fun anymore. And looks like NA decided to go in a little too aggressive, tried to be a little too baller, and he pays the price. Can't kill Phoenix. He's a strength hero and ranged, and he has ridiculous healing, so you can't kill him. You can only hope to contain him. And if anybody plays Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you know, Dark Phoenix rises. Phoenix can't control it. Anyway, back to the match. Lion's been doing very well, has been ganking very effectively, 5-1, but hasn't been farming at all, so probably quite a ways to the Blink Dagger. Let's check out the gold really quick. 55 is the top score on the Sentinel for ZSMJ. Meanwhile, on the top one on Scourge is the Slark with 36, and Spectre only has 11, so looks like we're going to see some support Spectre. Very standard build. I played standard support Syllabear in one of my last pubs. It was pretty interesting. You know, you don't need items when you have a 2700 HP bear backing you up. So, we got this. Meanwhile, Phoenix is just being a pain in the ass. Oni mid looks like Spectre gets owned because that was a desperation hunt as he saw from the illusions because they were so low HP. So that means Spectre was owned somewhere. Probably, I don't know where. So, as we saw from the scoreboard, Blank owned Blank's head for 250 gold. Gotta love that English, Warcraft, not being able to understand Chinese, as the Earthshaker, despite not farming well, is still doing an effective job in counter ganking whenever the Phoenix comes in, whenever the Sand King comes in. Meanwhile, another kill happens. And the Lion tries to pick up the slack on the Sand King, but no, Sand King will get away fine. As Phoenix and Invoker manage to get and a Chain Frost Echo Slam combination. Let's see if a Dust is cast. And yes, but nobody dies, and Phoenix drops the egg. So that's key for everybody to run, but looks like NA is going to come in from the backside doing some reverse butt sex, and he manages to pick off the Slark with a nice Vendetta backstab, but this Lich will forfeit the life, and let's see if Phoenix is going to keep up this chase. Fissure blocks in the Phoenix, and he already uses his dive. He has no mana now. Let's see how much damage these spirits will do. Oh, that's painful. 114 HP left, and Phoenix heals up a lot of it. And Earthshaker does get cut off because the Sand King does a nice job cutting off him. And let's see, SK has enough mana for another stun, but Spectre's just going to chase. And I think this NA is going to go down next. Nope, they're going to give up the chase, or Sand King misclicked or something, because if he kept chasing, he surely wouldn't have been able. But Phoenix manages to pick up the kill regardless, and ZSMJ might be the next one to fall. Playing a little too aggressive, TP'd in, 1v3. You got this, guys, you got this. Nope. JK. Phoenix got this. You can't control it, because Dark Phoenix rises after the egg. So yeah, Scourge doing a really strong job in counter ganking. So, because the Sentinel are initiating a lot of these fights, but without the Earthshaker or, you know, the Lion there, pretty much the Sentinel only does well when DDC's there to back him up. ZSMJ is like, oh, come on, guys. In LGD, you know, I'd get so much backup from teammates, but not in pro pubs, only DDC to rely upon here. I'm not really sure if he knows anybody else. But we can only guess. We can only guess. As the Earthshaker getting a deny upon, and looks like DDC managed to pick up kill on the Invoker solo without a dagger, without dust, so a little surprising. And meanwhile, more action happens. Earthshaker dies. I'm sorry for missing all these kills, guys. And looks like a raw egg is going to probably die to the ZSMJ right clicks. No, actually. Yeah, ZSMJ managed to get that, but Sand King Sandstorm managed to own Blank's head. So take that, Blank, Earthshaker. And Spectre Haunted for the last hit, or sorry, Sandstorm, Burrow Strike, managed to get the kill on ZSMJ. So a lot of gold bounty given up to ZSMJ when the Phoenix died, but immediately taken back away from him by that Sand King. Meanwhile, NA is going to take this time to farm on top. So one of the things I don't see pro players doing with NA, because he's only really seen in pro pubs, is they don't even use the Scarabs very effectively. They don't have like a couple of Scarabs at the runes, a couple of Scarabs following them around, and being ready to like chain silence, because Scarabs, they are annoying as hell to go against, because if you chain silence them pretty effectively, like only 3 Scarabs, and you can get a max of I think 6 or 8. That's just 9-second AoE silence that does damage, and that's pretty intense. And even pub players who play NA, they know to put a Scarab at the rune spot, so I don't know, maybe because there's wards, and maybe this NA player isn't comfortable playing NA, doesn't know all the NA hotkeys, or anything like that. He's not using the Scarabs, so I'm a little sad. But anyway, back to this match. Slark is gonna go for that Vanguard, give him a lot of HP, because Slark, he attacks slow, but he really needs to survive. He's much like a Viper in that he gets stronger and stronger as the battle goes on and on. His damage goes up because he steals more stats, and he just right-clicks faster, steals more stats, and then owns you completely. And it looks like NA is going to do a nice blinking by DDC, and they manage to chain stun down that Sand King perfectly. You see Phoenix just dives out, throws it out with some hateful spirits at the Draw Ranger, and is forced to retreat. And looks like Sentinel are going to gear up for a mid-push, so 12 to 18, and I've probably gotten maybe a third of those kills on camera. But lots of action, guys, lots of action. Gotta get all of that pent-up aggression before you start playing not as gank-heavy in the future. As we see, Phoenix being killed immediately, and Sand King buys back in response, but it looks like Drow is just being hated upon by that tower, which picking up Frost Armor, which is always a strong thing to do at level 7 or level 8. Get a level of Frost Armor. You don't need any more levels of Dark Ritual. You're past the Lang phase, ideally, if you are a very competent Lich player and you're roaming the map. You need that armor to give your team much needed survivability. So meanwhile, this Slark is being slowed upon by the Frost Armor, which owns him because he's melee, and Frost Armor slows him and reduces a lot of his damage. So Slark is a sad little Nightcrawler. And we see Spectre, 18 minutes in the game, no Vanguard. And still, it's not even on the Crow. It looks like Slark manages to jump in, tries to get a kill on the Earthshaker, but walks into a trap of 3 people, and looks like a nice job blocking by the Lich. And a preemptive Dark Pack tried to dispel the stun, but they just waited out, and they owned the Slark. Meanwhile, Sand King managed to own somebody else, I think. Judging from the map, they own ZSMJ. So, yeah, Lion does a good job. This Lion's always in the right place, as you can expect from a player like DDC, but, oh, so unfortunate, but a nice job blinking in after him, but an even nicer job by Ghost Anya to Sandstorm out that hit by the Lion. And looks like Spectre's gonna jump in. Where is Spectre gonna go? Spectre? Spectre? Spectre does an intimidation haunt, the strongest kind of haunt. You can't go in because I have 5 Spectres everywhere, even though I have no items, not even a Vanguard at this point. It looks like they want to get a gank upon this Lich, try to own him before the Chain Frost comes in. EMP Tornado, followed by Phoenix Spirits, and the Burrow Strike manages to claim his life, and Invoker gets that kill. And Invoker, 32 and 9, but already has okay items, considering how little farm he has. And that's the power of the gank strat. Everybody has decent items, except for the person who's 0-5. And looks like ZSMJ is continually shouting, DDC, help us, bail us out, because DDC is the only person on the Sentinel team who is able to do anything. And he has his dagger, but yeah. I guess communication is not at its strongest. I don't know. I'm guessing that all these people are not on TeamSpeak or anything because they probably just joined a random match. And they're like, oh, hey, DC, hey, ZSMJ, what are you doing today? Oh, let's own some pubs. And little do they know that Phoenix and Invoker will be picked against them like a bunch of tryhards. And ZSMJ gets jumped upon. Cold Snap, Phoenix Spirits. But DDC comes in with a nice blink, double impale. Somehow that hit 2 targets, even though they're right next to each other. And Ursher gets a strong ultimate off, but looks like he's going to forfeit his life in return. So sad QB, and ZSMJ managed to get that last hit on the... No, sorry, that was DDC, and they killed the Invoker. But Slark is coming in for cleanup duty, but he doesn't do any damage because he's a fucking Slark with no items, only a Vanguard. And he gets owned by the team of Sentinel. So, looks like the Sentinel game strategy is, alright, let's feed ZSMJ to them, or use ZSMJ as bait, let him die, and then we'll just own the rest of their team. And so far, that's going to get them back into the game. Of course, ZSMJ might not be too happy about it, but whatever. All for the greater good. Gotta put the importance of winning the match over the fate of your carry. And it looks like they're going to do some bugs, probably share control, the NA, allowing DDC to micro. Maybe this NA is busy, maybe he can't micro. But looks like DDC is going to have this bug follow him around, use it for silence. And let's see if any more scarabs are on the map. I can't see any at the moment. Do a quick item check. Earthshaker, Soul Ring, Lich, Wards, Cloak. A lot of the Scourge damage is physical, but that will help against the Phoenix and the Sand King. So, it's a good item choice. And Phoenix dives in 1v5, and as we see, you know, DC being picked off by the Sand King by himself. SK has that Blink Dagger. Sorry, I wasn't watching that. I was watching the Phoenix going in balls deep against 3 people, and I was fully expecting for Phoenix to come out on the upside of that encounter, but even Phoenix can't solo the entire team. So, he's forced to flap his wings sorrowfully, and looks like ZSMJ is being jumped upon, and nice pounce manages to get him, and ZSMJ can only run, but he can't run from the Spectre and the Phoenix, and it looks like Invoker manages to pick up the last hit again, and it is forced to go invis, but Earthshaker is the next one to follow by a nice Spectral Dagger snipe, and NA, they can see where you are at, bro. And the Scarabs are doing a nice job, but it looks like DDC might have just came back in the battle. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd you go, DDC? Maybe that was the Sand King link? I'm not too sure. I'm hallucinating. This game, too much action, causing me to hallucinate, as it's 18 to 25 in 22 minutes. What the hell? This is a Chinese game. But we see, it looks like Scourge are going to gear up for a push, and they are the stronger team at the moment, because the ZSMJ is not getting much farm at all. They have a lot of AoE with the Invoker, Phoenix, Sand King combination, and they have pretty good tank ability with the Phoenix and Spectre, so this is a good time to push because ZSMJ is not farming well, but you know ZSMJ will get your farm, and he's probably the most well-known carry out of every player, so they probably fear his wrath a little bit. Looks like Earthshaker TP's in, immediately takes 400 damage because of the Phoenix teleport, dies, but drops a nice Echo Slam. Slark is right-clicking the Lion, but no, can't do it. But yeah, Slark is going to be the next one to fall, unless the Shadow Dance is casted. Yes, Shadow Dance is casted. No dust, because who needs dust in pub games? Is the traditional motto, and Sand King manages to get a nice stun off and blinks away, but it was nice blink in by DDC, managed to catch the Sand King, and right click damage by ZSMJ managed to pick him off as the Sentinel are able to hold, but they lost the mid tower, and that's pretty important because the Scourge have been ganking really aggressively, and the loss of this mid tower is really going to hurt them in terms of map control. I'm sorry. I'm trying to take this a little bit more seriously. Oh, Phoenix leaves the game. Game changing. Rage quit. No, not rage quit because he was owning. He was only 7-5, but at one point he had like a wicked 6 streak, so looks like maybe he was 7-1 and he just got owned for a lot of it. And that's the thing about Phoenix, because you will attack faster, you will kill that egg, so Phoenix doesn't scale as well as other heroes. But he's still annoying to play against in the early game, much like a Batrider in that sense, because he's just so fucking annoying. I don't like playing Phoenix because, I don't know, too many buns, man, too many buns. And yeah, so that mid tower is going to hurt these Sentinel in terms of map control, but without the Phoenix, let's see who's going to micro this Phoenix. Look like the Slark is gonna, because you only really need to right click with Slark if you are careful enough. No, looks like they're gonna use Phoenix as a ward. Very strong strategy as ZSMJ is gonna farm this up 20 minutes, 24 minutes. Yasha a little bit underfarmed by ZSMJ, but he has been getting killed very, very hard. As you see DDC line already picking up that 4-staff, and DDC just owning this game from start to finish. Rather, not even finish. But let's see how they utilize this Phoenix. So it looks like Sentinel are trying to get up a mid-push, and they really want this mid-tier 1 tower, allow Scourge a little bit more, you know, little bit less map control in terms of accessing Roshan, as Phoenix drops the egg, Haunt, lots of shit going down, Invoker getting chain stun, and Phoenix does get right-click down, because I guess he missed people with the dive. Or he dove, but his teammates were not there to back him up. Sand King died as well, and looks like NA and Slark is trying to go in 1v5, but he doesn't do enough damage, and he got a couple attacks in. I wonder what level his Essence Shift is at, because he got a couple attacks in, but he's still only doing 7 to 78 damage. And Essence Shift, as you all know, steal stats, makes agility allowed to be transferred over to Slark. Sorry, struggling for the word right there, but Slark steals the agility from the stats that he gains, and you know, the opponent gets weaker because he's still 1 of every stat, has gained 4 agility, or 3 agility, and 1 of every other stat. We see Scarabs microing around, and this is the power of NA in the mid game, because these silences cannot be underestimated as long as your opponents don't have their BKBs yet. And since none of the heroes except for Slark has BKB, and Invoker's getting jumped upon, nice finger by DDC as you see Sand King blinking in, but he couldn't drop an ultimate. And it's forced just to Sandstorm and run out. It looks like Slark again trying to go 1v5. And he managed to get a kill. Or sorry, Sand King did with the Burrow Strike snipe. And looks like the Chain Frost will bounce with the Phoenix, but Phoenix manages to dive out. Let's see if they can get this Earthshaker. No, Earthshaker should be fine with the support of DDC. And again, the strategy of bait ZSMJ, allow everybody to focus in, is working very well for the Sentinel team. As you see, Sand King just sandstorm away, and who needs dust? Only pubs. Pubs don't get dust. Even pro pubs don't get dust. As you see, the Earthshaker dying as well, so 24-29. Relatively close game, but if the Slark can just drag this out, even with the loss of Phoenix, they should have the advantage. They have a Slark, they have a Spectre, who are still probably the most powerful late game heroes in the game. Although Drought is okay against the Spectre because she does a lot of focus fire, DPS, right click, can lifesteal out dispersion damage, so. But, you know, you can't do the massive AoE team fight damage that a Spectre can do. So I'm going to take this time to drink a little bit of water. Sand King, epicenters. Nobody. And you were caught on camera, my friend. I don't know what you were thinking of doing, Anya, but you were caught. And looks like some are having a good chuckle. They just say SK. And Sand King just realizes, oh, maybe I need some wards. Because how could they see me? But they had a ward right there. And Spectre, let's see how close he is to the relic. 250 gold away from the relic, so should get it pretty soon. And let's see how well this Slark is doing. Slark took a lot of Phoenix's items, managed to get that bracer, and I don't know what else Phoenix had, but he had stuff, man. He did things. But now he can just sit in Fountain and mourn. Dark Phoenix was controlled. As we see, looks like Sentinel probably recognized the fact that, okay, we don't do as well in the late game because Slark and Spectre can probably take down the Drow. Slark is a single target hero as well, much like a Drow, and could actually probably out DPS a Drow if he gets enough stats stolen, so they need to end this game fast. And a nice tornado only catches one person. Nice EMP guy, as no mana was drained. And looks like someone want to get a mid push going on. They should probably use a Phoenix. Yep, Phoenix is being moved into position, and Spectre managed to pick up the relic, but he has to heal right now. And meanwhile, Pounce is just used to lock the Drow Ranger in place, and the Scarabs have decent armor, but just dies to the tower. And looks like Slark taking a lot of right-click damage, despite the Vanguard and the Bracer. It's just taking so much right-click damage, because even though ZSMJ is 4 and 9, it still does plus 192 damage with his True Shot Aura, and managed to farm for the Eagle Horn, so was not expecting that, but they're forced to defend. That just gives Scourge a lot more time to get up those key items, like finishing that Radiance on the Spectre, and maybe getting probably an SNY on this Slark. SNY, although frowned upon by many players, has its uses, and I think it's pretty good on Slark because it allows him to chase a lot better, gives him some much-needed strength boost, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But it does more than a Manta style. Even though if you manage to get enough hits, your images will gain those stats because stats are transferred directly into Manta style, but that relies on you getting a lot of hits first and then splitting, which is not really the point of Manta style. Manta style is used to dodge maybe a spell and then use your images to confuse the other team and do some DPS before you start getting a lot of hits in first. So I'm going to expect a Sage and Yasha on this Slark. Meanwhile, Spectre trying to get that Radiance look like Mechanism, Planeswalker Cloak up on the Invoker. Maybe gonna go for a Pipe, I'm not too sure. There's not really too much magic damage except for Lion. Oh, never mind, there's a Lich. Scratch that, I am a liar. As we see NA picking up the hood, and people are starting to take this a little bit more seriously because these bugs are being transferred, and I'm not too sure what Sentinel's game plan. Oh, maybe they're just waiting for ZSMJ to finish up that Butterfly, and now they're gonna push the top lane, but let's see how Spectre is doing. He didn't farm too much. 313 gold. Does he have his Radiance recipe? I don't know. I only saw him neutral up that one camp after he got that heal. But yeah, just still the relic. And looks like the only words that I can understand in this entire cast from the chat are pretty much ZSMJ, DDC, and SK. So, thank you, English Warcraft. Can't understand shit. Can't see into the minds of these Chinese players as they own this tower. And looks like Lion blinks in, tries to get a surprise star on the SK, but SK, nice preemptive blink dodging, and that EMP does hurt. But Fissure manages to catch off the Sand King, locking him in place before he can dagger in, and Sand King is in a lot of trouble. His ultimate's down, he's being silenced, taking a lot of right-click damage, and Phoenix was not dove in because nobody's using the Phoenix, but ZSMJ is left by himself to die. The strategy of Sentinel sacrificing the ZSMJ for the greater glory in full effect as we see Earthshaker Chainfrost. A lot of shit's being dumped upon, and a double kill goes towards the Lich? The Lich. And Spectre managed to get away by this hairs on his chin. And no, DDC Lion managed to pick off that kill on the Spectre. So, I'm really not sure. Maybe that is their strategy, because ZSMJ just charged in, did a couple clicks on the egg. Hey, these teammates are just chilling back here. Like, yeah, you can do that, ZSMJ. You're on a pretty good team. You make money from Dota. We don't want to do that, so we're a little jelly. We're going to let you die. And then we'll come in and rape the entire Scourge team, which is exactly what happened. As you see, 28-30. Senlar closing the gap, and Spectre still has no Radiance, and that's probably the biggest factor in all these team fights, because that Radiance does a lot of residual damage against squishy heroes like the Lich, like the Earthshaker, although this Earthshaker has picked up a Blink Dagger. Still not much tank ability, but Spectre's Radiance will cancel that dagger. And NA, even though he has the hood, it doesn't have the greatest HP pool, as we see him go around for a solo yank, trying to get a double damage Vendetta, but you can see the Scarabs, bro. Gotta leave your Scarabs right here in the shadows before you go ahead to gank, but there is nobody to gank at the moment. So that double damage will be all for naught. Sadly, nope, he's gonna get Invoker. Move your Scarabs now! Move your Scarabs now! Nice 375 damage crit, silenced by the bugs, but Sand King is there for position, and Epicenter is gonna end the life of this NA, and Meteor for NA. Just want to use an epic crit by the double damage. You know, it's like getting a double damage on a Tuskar Wallace Punch, just owning everybody. It's so much fun. Sorry about that, a little bit of a cold, but meanwhile, ZSMJ charging in alone. Teammates like, alright, you got this, dude. You got this. No NA to back you up. But ZSMJ charging in. No BKB for this Drow Ranger. And what does he really have to fear? I'm pretty sure Phoenix goes through BKB. Only really has to fear the Invoker and the Sand King, because the rest are right-click heroes, so that doesn't really merit BKB if Drow is tank enough. And 1600 HP. She's pretty tank in terms of Drow Ranger, and especially the lifesteal she can steal. And a nice bait. Nice hiding in the shadows by DDC. Can they pick off the Sand King? No, a nice Sandstorm dodge, and Phoenix is managed to go in, but Earthshaker drops a huge ultimate, and that Radiant's still not phased on the Spectre, but Spectre can just tank a lot of damage, and looks like the Sentinel are forced to retreat. Let's see if Slark can own ZSMJ. He's dodging a lot of hits because of his invasion on that Butterfly, but I don't know. Nope. The Dark Pact managed to get the last hit, and they're going to go on the chase for this Earthshaker. But he just drops a preventive Fissure, but Phoenix dive, and Slark chasing, Pounce, managed to polish off, and DDC, no man, running a straight line more. Nope, Force Staff, can you get the blink? Blinks out to safety, so well done by DDC, but unfortunately the Sentinel lost that battle pretty handily, because they had no NA, who just comes in from the background and kills off the Invoker. You're like, okay, you baited me that last time, well, here's something for you. And he owns that Invoker. But now he might die because this Slark stole a lot of stats and does a shit ton of damage at the moment. I mean, look at this. He attacks really fast too, as well as DDC has to heal up, blink in, Hex, and finger the long-forgotten Phoenix. As the NA is able to escape and get back to the Fountain and live to fight another day, even though every Dota hero fights another day, except at the end of the game when somebody wins. So, Sentinel have been a little bit... They've been trying to pick off some heroes before they go in for the high ground attempt, and that hasn't been too effective because Scourge are just constantly bottled up in this portion of the map, like this arc. So they can constantly send quick reinforcements to the heroes that get ganked, like the Invoker right here, or, you know, with some wards. Nobody was there to be ganked, and they have pretty good teamfight. They have pretty good turtling with the Sand King, Sandstorm, Epicenter, and the Invoker, who's one of the most annoying turtlers in the game to go against. And the Spectre, although farming abysmally, like, Jesus. Look at this farm. Shameful. Shameful for a Chinese person when Spectre has the lowest creep kills in the game. 36 and 1, 36 minutes and 1 creep kill a minute. Not counting the neutrals, of which he only has about 48, which is probably about 40 lane kills, because he has a lot of level 1 camps. So, Spectre not having a good game, and any Chinese... I just imagine sort of like Chinese recruits watching, similar to NCAA recruiters, or NBA Pro Scouts scouting up the, you know, prospective draft picks. Like, oh, this Spectre can't farm for shit. We probably shouldn't pick him to be on our pro team anytime soon. So, meanwhile, we have the Sentinel gearing up for a push, and looks like the Scourge are just going to forfeit it, and they just run away again from the Sand King Epicenter, and the dive, the Phoenix Egg will go down, and looks like DDC Lion managed to pick up a kill, but no, oh, Radiance is finished, sorry, and looks like NA manages to come in, but the Sentinel are a little bit too tanky, and Earthshaker drops a huge ultimate all over the face of the Scourge team, and ZSMJ He's like, I can farm. Let me show you how it's done, Spectre. 200 creep kills in 30 minutes, even though he's ganked like no other, and he's the bait for his team, as he right-clicks for a hell amount of damage, 300 damage per click, and along with that Yasha and the butterfly, he attacks really fast. So, strong play by the Sentinel, baiting out the Sand King ultimate, and it really didn't do any damage. Like, as soon as they saw probably the Sand King jump in, maybe they had to scare there, I'm not too sure, maybe they had no wards. They just had the presence of mind. Okay, we killed the tower, we should probably back off because Sand King's gonna own us. But Sand King couldn't do anything because his epicenter was dodged like a boss. And it looks like the Sentinel are gonna push down this tower and probably try to end it. But you can't count out the Scourge yet, even though the Spectre is ridiculously underfarmed because they have the better late game if they can get to it. But if they manage to pick off this Rex, I think it might be a little bit too much. They don't have really too strong of creep clearing abilities, except for Sand King, Sandstorm, and Caustic Finale. So if they can manage to claim the Rex, they got the melee Rex, which is the most important, as nobody really gives a shit about big ranged creeps. And Sand King is being revealed by the gem on the Earthshaker, and Slark wants to go in, he wants to get some. And he did pick up the Saint Yasha trying to go for a MKB, but ZSMJ does die. Let's see if they can pick up the Invoker. No, looks like Sentinel are like, see you, and they bail. So DDC line tries to do a pro blink, but can only get himself stuck in the trees, so it's forced to use his Force Staff. Forced to use Force Staff. And looks like ZSMJ decides to Rage Buy. No real other reason. I mean, they weren't really in any danger of being pushed, but this is a pub. If you are super pro at this game, you are going to Rage Buy. So, meanwhile, what's happening up top? ZSMJ farming. And like I said, Scourge don't have really strong creep clearing abilities, so don't expect them to push back this creep wave anytime soon. The only chance they have to win is just keep turtling it up. But it really depends on the Sand King landing a nice ult. Let's see if Phoenix Dive can catch more than one hero for the silence, because Sentinel don't have any magic immunity on their team. Although I did hear a BKB on one of the players. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. Or hearing things. No BKB on Drow. None on Lich. None on Earthshaker. Lion BKB. So DDC, definitely the MVP of this game. If the Sentinel goes on to win it, LVP goes to Spectre. I think Chinese people, Chinese Dota fans everywhere are just like, you are not part of this family. I have no blank for a son or brother. But you will never know his name, except if you go on S-Gamer and look at the replay, where it is in a bunch of Chinese letters, and if you're Chinese, you can decipher it. But looks like these Sentinel are trying to go in and end this, even though the Scourge managed to pick up the Aegis. You know, Sentinel are pretty stacked in terms of items. Sand King managed to get a nice double blink, gets a BKB, channels the ultimate, and this might be what the Sentinel Scourge needs. No, Drow just lifesteals so much of that epicenter damage, and Earthshaker managed to pick off the Phoenix, but Earthshaker dies as well. So, even trade as far as that, although there is no Phoenix Fire left. And Chain Frost being unleashed only bounces once, and the meteors being cast in a nice choke point fashion, managed to get himself a couple kills, and Scourge are holding this pretty well, but Invoker dies, and the Spectre had the Aegis, buys back, tried to get the kill on ZSMJ, managed to get a kill, and he can screenshot that, put it on his folder, because with that type of farm, he ain't gonna see any offers from pro teams anytime soon, so just gonna put that and be forever remembered. And it's a sad day when a Lion can out DPS you, even though Spectre was hexed. I see Invoker buying back because the Sentinel are gonna try to win this right now. So NA, no more bugs. All his little kids are dead. They passed on, but I think NA is like an undead scarab thing anyway. You can't really be reborn except to be undeadier. Yeah, making up adjectives. So what? Nope, here's the scarab following around DDC. Nice blinking to dodge the tornado. A little weird how the tornado just takes a little bit to activate damage, so you can just blink out as soon as you land. but this Invoker is being hurt upon, and Invoker did buy back, but he does have the mechanism, manages to heal himself out, and it looks like Phoenix is finally using the Sun Ray. Nope, can't use it. As the Lich Sentinel are just putting a lot of pressure, and the lanes are being pushed on all sides by the Sentinel. So let's see how the Scourge can handle this. I mean, I think Sand King Ultimate should be back online, and Slark does have that Javelin, but DDC Lion manages to pick out the Phoenix immediately, and that can't be underestimated because Phoenix is such a distraction, you have to focus it for a bit. But I don't think they've even been focusing it because, you know, people are not microing the Phoenix to use all of his spells like the Spirits, like the Dive, and we see Invoker dying to that last bounce of the Chain Frost. Meanwhile, Spectre's being kited around all over the place, and Slark is just trying to catch up, but he can't catch up with anything. Can't catch up this NA. NA is just gonna get a stun. Nope, no mana for stun. So there's Slark. Nope, gets fissured. Nice job by the Earthshaker saving out his NA. Oh, looks like NA had his Blink Dagger cancelled. Was trying to juke long enough for his Blink. And Spectre Radiance. And a nice double kill Burrow Strike. And I think Earthshaker he's just like, oh, sorry dude. Probably should have brought them away. Kitu Mabi. I think that means my bad, bro. My bad. The Chinese equivalent of bro and my bad. Mabi. It's definitely my bad. So Spectre still ain't got no farm, and Drow is just doing so much right-click damage. This is how a pro player farms, even though you have a very poor kill-death ratio. And that's all that matters in pubs. ZSMJ, Scrubby Pub, owns at pro. So, anyway, they managed to pick off the Sand King, and with that, I think, no, they got the Slark, sorry. And with that, the drone's being attacked, and it's being pushed. Spectre has to keep going back. Can't tank anything. He's trying to get a Blade Mail up. That'll help negate some of the damage, but even then he's not really even being focused because he just doesn't do enough damage. And he's not even warranted. Like, if the Sentinel just kills everybody else, they can fight the Spectre after it. But Spectre has so few items in this case. Like, this is one of the few cases where 45 minutes in, the team with the Spectre doesn't auto-win, or is not even in the game, because the Spectre just farms so poorly that she has no items, and the Sentinel are just so stacked. So, like, NA, Hood, Blink, Witch, Mecha, Pipe, Phase, DDC Lion, Hex, Blink Dagger, Force Staff, BKB, Drow, standard ZSMJ farm. Although, 257 in 45 minutes, this is probably the low light of ZSMJ's career in terms of pubbing it up. And looks like DDC managed to initiate, and look, they're just ignoring the Phoenix. They aren't even worried. Oh no, it looks like ZSMJ is going to right-click it down. A little bit too late, but he just life-steals back all of the damage, and the Phoenix Dive is used defensively. That's always a bad sign. Looks like Sand King comes away, but the ultimate's not doing any damage. Spectre managed to get the right-click on, but yeah, Spectre falls as well. Let's see who's teleporting back in. Brown, who is Slark. Slark is trying to get some right-click on, but 1v4 Slark. Not a good scenario in any case, and then Earthshaker was waiting for that moment just to drop the ultimate on the Sand King, get the Slark to low HP, and they're going to get the Slark as well. Fissure, Force Staff. Fissure owns a crap out of that Slark. So, looks like some no GG, no space, as the Sentinel side with DDC and ZSMJ managed to win the game. So scores aren't really too relevant, but just take a look at this. 90 kills, 46 minutes. Chinese games, no action, take a look at this game. That's what I'll use from now on. Chinese games, no action, take a look at this game. So, really fun game to watch, really interesting to see Slark and Phoenix. And really spectacular play by DDC Lion. I mean, 21-2 with the Lion. Really fast Blink Dagger, got a nice Force Staff, and then BKB just owned the crap out of this game. Nice job of the Sentinel recognizing that everybody wants to own ZSMJ, so I can take that screenshot. Like playing against Vigos, gotta take that screenshot that I say I own Vigos. So they used that fact to bait the ultimates. I seriously think that's actually what happened from that one fight where ZSMJ is charging against Phoenix all by himself and got owned, and then the team went in, and then they just got 4 kills. So, really interesting game. Sorry it's not the most, competitive. Although it was definitely a fun game, not gonna lie. 90 kills in 45 minutes. and should be fun. Hopefully, more games are coming out soon, but ESWC being Dota 2 can't really cast that. SMM switching to Dota 2. Oh, that is in December, but WDC is coming up, so look forward to that because as far as I know, it's still Dota 1. So be on the lookout for games like that. And thank you all for watching, and have a fantastic day.